Good afternoon from Terry's Travels. I've just happened to be down in Newmilns in Ayrshire in Scotland and noticed this church behind me. It's pretty much locked up. I don't know the name of it. I'll find out. It's obviously got connections to the Covenanters, and there's a monument, there's a few gravestones and things related to the Covenanters. I'll find out a bit about it. I've flown the drone over and I like to see it from all points of view, and I've got a few photographs taken around the front there through the railings. I'll find out about it, as I say, and I'll tell you a little bit about the Covenanters as we're watching it. Hope you like it. So who were the Covenanters? Well, I hope the Covenanters Memorials Association will forgive me for stealing a couple of paragraphs just to tell you. It's an excellent website, covenanter.org.uk. It says, who were the Covenanters? Simply stated, the Covenanters were those people in Scotland who signed the National Covenant in 1638. They signed this covenant to confirm their opposition to the interference by the Stuart kings in the affairs of the Presbyterian Church of Scotland. The Stuart kings harboured the belief of the divine right of the monarch. Not only did they believe that God wished them to be the infallible rulers of their kingdom, they also believed that they were the spiritual heads of the Church of Scotland. This latter belief could not be accepted by the Scots. No man, not even a king, could be the spiritual head of their church. Only Jesus Christ could be spiritual head of a Christian church. And finally, one last paragraph. This was the nub of the entire Covenanting struggle. The Scots were, and would have been, loyal to the Stuart dynasty, but for that one sticking point. And from 1638, when the covenant was signed, until the glorious revolution when Prince William of Orange made a bloodless invasion of Great Britain in 1688. A great deal of suffering, torture, imprisonment, transportation and executions would ensue. And I've covered some of those events, the Battle of Bothwell Bridge, in one of my other videos, so please have a little look. So thank you very much to the Scottish Covenanter Memorials Association for that neat little summary. Have a look at their website. You'll get a lot more information there on it. It's massive. It covers all the areas of Scotland and the relationship to the Covenanter struggle. When you arrive, have a look in the graveyard, wander around, have a read of some of the stones, and then have a look at the monument. Erected in 1913 by local subscription, in commemoration of the noble struggle in defence of civil and religious liberty against the tyrannical measures of the House of Stuart, maintained by the hereon named martyrs belonging to Loudoun parish, who suffered and died for their devoted adherence to the Scottish Covenant. So here's another monument naming some of the martyrs. This one leans against the wall of the church. Erected September 1829 by parishioners of Loudoun in testimony of their deep admiration of the noble struggle in defence of the civil and religious liberties of their country against the despotic and persecuting measures of the House of Stuart, maintained by the undernamed martyrs belonging to this parish, who suffered and died for their devotedness to the covenanted work of Reformation. And here are the named people. Have a look at the time span involved in this as well, when they died. Matthew Peyton, shoemaker in Newmilns, who was taken in the rencounter at Pentland and executed at Glasgow December 19th, 1666. David Finlay, who was shot at Newmilns by order of DL in 1666. James Wood, taken at the Battle of Bothwell Bridge. You'll see another video about that in my channel. And executed at Magus Muir on November 25th, 1679. So there you go, a bit later. And then John Nisbet in Glen, presumably the farm, executed at Kilmarnock, April 14th, 1683. And James Nisbet in Highside, executed at Glasgow, June 11th, 1684. So that's over from 1666 till 1684, executing people. And yet another memorial plaque near the church. Nisbet seems to be a very popular name. So this is a third Nisbet, a second John Nisbet. To the memory of John Nisbet of Hardhill, who suffered martyrdom at the Grassmarket, Edinburgh, 4th of December 1685, animated by a spirit to which a genuine religion alone could give birth, and the pure flame of civil and religious liberty alone could keep alive, he manfully struggled for a series of years to stem the tide of national degeneracy and liberate his country from the tyrannical aggressions of the perjured House of Stuart. His conduct in arms at Pentland, Drumclog and Bothwell Bridge, in opposition to the prelatic encroachment and in defence of Scotland's covenanted reformation, is recorded in the annals of these oppressive times. His remains lie at Edinburgh, but the inhabitants of this his native parish and friends to the cause for which he fought and died have caused this stone to be erected. And again, another one embedded in the wall of the church. To the memory of John Law, who was shot at the relieving of 8 Covenanters. They were taken at Little Blackwood in April 1685 by Captain Inglis and his dragoons. Those were the king's troops, and were imprisoned in the old castle Newmilns. He lies where he fell, outside the castle walls. And the quote says, "'Cause I, Christ's prisoners relieved, I of my life was soon bereaved." There you go. Yeah, while you're there, have a look at this smaller plate embedded again in the church wall. One of my subscribers in the United States is a direct descendant of this gentleman here, Murdoch Nisbet. It says here, dedicated to the memory of Murdoch Nisbet, Hardhill Farm, Newmilns, who in 1520 translated the New Testament into Scots, enabling the Word of God to be heard for the first time in our native tongue. And that's not the Gaelic tongue spoken down in those parts, in these parts. It would have been Scots, the kind of language that Robert Burns, the poet, and others would have spoken at that time in this area. Fascinating. Well, that's about it. Thanks again for looking in, and if you could leave a like or subscribe, something like that, leave a comment. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you look at my channel, you'll find some other videos relating to the Covenanters in the area. So thanks again for looking at it. Bye bye.